Greetings, Banff Warriors. Greetings. Greg is here. So are you. Let's talk about life. Lots to talk about. I've been living the best life. Living the best life. How are you living right now? Yes, I have been living the best life. One of my favorite things to do is to go on road trips, do some camping, do some hiking, do some hot soak, and some cold plunge. Got to do a little bit of all that. Even did some news things. Did some new things this weekend. Did some paddle boarding. That was fun. Thanks out to Venture Wild, Mark at Venture Wild. If you're looking for a paddleboard, not sponsored, but Venture Wild, search that up. Grateful for Mark for sending me a badass paddleboard. It was a cool exchange between me and him, guy that I met through some off-roading group, and he came out to New Mexico to visit. We went and soaked and did some cold plunging out here, and I put him up at my place for a night. And he was kind enough to send me a board, and it's been sitting there all winter waiting for the right time, and this weekend was the right time. It was fun. Trying something new, doing something new. When was the last time you did something new? Right? When was the last time that you did something new? I love doing new things. That's like living. If you're not doing new things on a regular basis, you're not living. If you keep doing the same old things, even if they excite you, even if you think that they're incredible for you, right? What's up, my brother? The overlanding was a blast. I have like videos that I'm trying to upload, and for whatever reason, they're just taking their sweet time. I was thinking we could meet tomorrow. I was going to send you something. I just came back, took some time to rest, and I got this message first thing this morning. I'm going to read this message on there because it's out there, but not everybody sees this stuff. So I'm going to read this message because it really touched my life, man. But let me see, where is this guy? All right. So I woke up to this. In this beautiful campsite in Colorado. It was great, man. Oh, last night was so peaceful. It was so quiet. Like the first night, I camped by this reservoir, and there was frogs. There was like this reverberation of frogs, like for a quarter of the night. And like, I don't know, nature is bird song. I hear crickets right now outside, but frogs like burp, 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 just doing all that. It's pretty interesting. And last night, I was in this beautiful pasture surrounded by ponderosa pines and aspens, and it was just so lush. And as soon as I set up camp, this owl showed up. Woo, 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 all like for the first 2 hours. And he took off on his little journey for the night, and then he came back. But it was so quiet last night. It was super quiet. But when I woke up this morning, I want to read a comment to you. I don't read a lot of comments, but when someone puts some energy into it, which there's some energy into this type of a comment, I think it's worth sharing. Because maybe you resonate with this. Because this is somebody that considered themselves a lurker. They're lurking. They're listening to the message, but they're lurking in the shadows. They're still in the shadows because this stuff's challenging. It's challenging. But it says, hey, man, I commented on a live stream a couple weeks ago about how while I was in a halfway house at the beginning of sobriety, I randomly came across one of your videos. I had a family tragedy by suicide that opened my eyes to to time and love wasted. I took myself to rehab solely because my own blood following through on something I often fantasized about, victimizing myself for years in booze, in drugs, and not even seeing the people struggling around me, and my pain causing more turmoil for them. A pain and guilt that's hard to articulate. Not to victimize myself now, I fully embrace it as I continually let it pass through me. My point, though, is that there were days at this halfway house, bunking in rooms with 5 other grown men in the middle of a harsh winter, while I faced grief so profound I could hardly open my eyes. Some days, the only pinhole of light was your uploads and words as I fully let the emotions come. I am 18 months sober today. I still watch your videos weekly, revisit them when the time feels needed. I don't have the funds currently yet to support your movement and in turn support myself, but I recognize the grind of genuine intention. The masses haven't been reached yet, but the day you call it a loss and move on would be a hard day for me. And I am sure you do this for more than you know. Like me, who is lurking. On that stream, you replied, I appreciate the words. Sometimes I feel like I'm spitting in the wind. And my thought was, maybe you are, but the wind carries the energy through this world. And the wind brought your insight to my life. At the only correct time I would have heard it. I would love to have a conversation at some point, and I fully plan to invest in this and myself when I can. Don't stop. That shit hit, man. That shit hit. I mean, that's what I woke up with. I'm not gonna lie. I was still in my rooftop tent, nice and cozy. And I was lucky that usually I'm off grid, but I had like 2 bars up there. It was weird. And that message came through. I read it. And I broke down, man. I started crying. I got real emotional reading that this morning. Because I know there's a lot of people lurking out there. You're probably one of them. It takes one to know one. You know, I could be a lurker too when it comes to certain things. Just lurking and not always want to be seen. And it's taken me a lot of healing work to be willing to be seen, to be willing to be heard, to speak my truth without carrying around guilt or worrying about what someone says or what someone thinks or whatever it is. And yet, I know that what's inside of me is medicine for a massive amount of people, but yet, as this incredible soul said, right? They're not ready yet. The masses aren't ready yet. And there's been a lot of times in my life that I felt like I was behind. Have you ever felt like you were behind? You ever felt like, man, I missed it. I missed out on my chance. It's over. It's too late, man. I gotta settle. And I'm just here to tell you that that's not true. If you're hearing this message right now, this is a moment in time, which is the only moment. It's the now. If you're hearing it now is what matters right now. And this is a moment that if you could have some awareness and some presence, that you can make a choice, that you could have a decision to release everything that's ever messed you up in life. And everything that's trying to continue holding you back. From what? Holding you back from what? Holding you back from more, for sure. becoming more, experiencing more joy, more love, more peace, more excitement, more happiness, more fun, more sense of being alive. I mean, we've put the bar so damn low in terms of just day to day getting through it. The bar is so low right now. I mean, if we could just roll out of bed and have a few likes on our socials, it's like, yay, you're fucking killing it. I mean, that's for a lot of people, man. That's it. Just if you can post some shit and get a few likes on any given day, few interactions, right? That's about it. The bar is so dang low as to what we expect, what our standards are. And it's because there's so much distraction. There's so many things that overwhelm us that really the loop that comes around, right? The loop, the energetic loop, as I just saw 1111 come through, is that of not being good enough, or the comparison being the thief of joy, right? Constantly comparing and contrasting yourself to others, especially because we have so much access to what people are posting and what they're doing and what you're not doing or what you're trying to pretend like you're doing. And I'm just in this place right now where I'm just locked in. I'm all in on spiritual awakening. Like, I'm all in. Where else am I gonna go? You know what I mean? It's almost like, it's kind of funny. So I remember joining the military. When I joined the military, I joined the Navy, and people always ask me, "Hey, man, so what were you? You were in the military? What'd you do?" And it's a little tricky to explain because I joined the Navy. I went to Navy boot camp, and then after Navy boot camp, I went to what's called Hospital Corpsman School, which is basically the Navy's version of medics. But here's where it got interesting. Most people on the outside looking in don't realize that the Marine Corps is actually a part of the Navy. And, we always think like Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, like they're all Coast Guard, like it's all separate. But the Navy and the Marines are, one and the same. There's a long-standing joke that the Marines is the men's department of the Navy. That was kind of an old joke. But the interesting thing is that I remember being in Corps school, and when you get your orders, like there was like hospitals and, different stuff like that, clinics. And then when I saw my orders, it said 1 Mar Div, which meant 1st Marine Division. And I'm like, what the hell's that? And, what happened is I landed up going to 1 Mar Div and, spent, I mean, literally boot camp is what, I don't remember what it was. It was like 8 weeks long or something back then. And then Corps school is like 4 months long. So you're talking less than like 6 months in. I'm now with the Marines. I was started with the Navy, and then I'm with the Marines, and I ran with the Marines the rest of my career. And a big part of that was because when you leave the Navy, the regular Navy, and then you go as a Navy, as somebody that joined the Navy, but now you spent time with the Marines, the Navy's like, man, we don't want you back. You're damaged goods, man. We know you're all fucked up. If you've been with the Marines, like, you're fucked up. Like, we don't want to, we don't need your type over here, man. And that's like how I feel on the spiritual awakening journey. It's like, where am I supposed to go now? Right? Back to normal life, back to 3D life, right? I can't just go back to being like, oh man, let me go cheer for my favorite team. Let me go, I mean, I don't even think I don't know. There's a lot of things that I used to really invest a lot of energy into in the past that I just don't, I don't think I could. Like, I could still go watch a movie a few times a year if it's like entertaining. I like action movies, those type of movies that bring nostalgia back. Like, I could watch a movie once or twice a year. Um, I know I can't sit there and watch a sporting event live or on TV. Like, I can't sit there for 3-4 hours, man, watching other motherfuckers kick ass. Like, I would rather go and kick ass in my own life than sit there idle watching. And yet there's a lot to that. There's a lot as to why is that even a thing for so many people? Why is that a thing for so many people to watch other people? And it's like we get into this, oh, what, you don't like competition? Or I do watch it for the competition. That's not it. There's actually deeper reasons for it, but that seems to be the one that people just say, right? But it's everything is always deeper, right? If you've ever been in a fight with somebody, like a intimate partner, and maybe y'all are fighting about money, or you're fighting about, you ever heard the thing where it's like whatever you're arguing about, it's not about that thing. There's always something deeper. It's just that's the thing that you're using to deflect. That's the thing you're using to as like a release valve on what's really going on underneath the surface. You're releasing the energy in this, it's this weird way. It's this convoluted expression of what's really going on with you. And it takes a lot of self-awareness to understand that. But that's kind of a weird analogy for me. Like, when I was with the Marines as a Navy corpsman, the Navy didn't want nothing to do with me. And I find myself now so far down the healing journey, the spiritual awakening, that there's a lot of people in groups and organizations and things that I used to be very aligned with in my past that they don't want nothing to do with me. And I don't feel a sense of rejection from that. I can tell you that much. There's like zero sense of rejection from that, because here's what I've understood. This is what I understand, is that those things are useful for the people that are still attracted to them. See, that's the thing. There's no judgment. It's like, because of where I'm standing right now in my personal life, putting off this energetic frequency, right, of healing, of growth, of expansion. I mean, that's primarily what I'm talking about here, is empowering yourself to say, you know what, like, you don't need to go to a church to heal. You don't need to go to a retreat. I mean, whatever it is, it's like you can heal, that you have everything you need inside of you right now. And the most important thing you need is courage to heal. You need some courage, you need some commitment, and you need a lot of fucking consistency, because you're going to get knocked down, right? And there's no magic trick. There's no quick fix to this stuff. But the thing is that you can absolutely accelerate the time that it takes to do the healing work by really going all in and making this your life. Like, I just spent 3 days on the road traveling and camping, and guess what went with me? 1% Better Everyday Journal. This thing was out there. Like, I don't just do this stuff when I'm at home, but see, a lot of people, it's like, it's always got to, I'm on vacation. Why would I want to do that? What do you mean? That's the whole saying, right? 1% better every day. It's called the Everyday Journal. The reason why it's every day is because this is doing life every day. This is what it takes. This is what your life should really be about. Prioritizing yourself, improving yourself every single day, just a little bit at a time. And over an extended period of time, with the commitment and the consistency, you're going to transform. You will transform. However, there's a lot of people out there, no hate, but y'all just are okay. But deep down inside, I know you're not okay. Your ego tells you you're okay, but at the soul level, you're not okay because your soul is here to do something that my soul is here to do. And I was talking about this today. Our purpose here on this planet is not about accumulation. Do you understand that? Accumulating things, right? It's about identification. Your soul's purpose here, right? You are a soul in a human body. You are not a human having a spiritual experience. You are a soul that's eternal, does not die, ever dies. No death. There's no death to the soul. The body, yes, this body is very disposable. So easy. Boom. So easy. So easy. Whether you're an animal or anything or a human, it's like these bodies are so disposable. But there's something inside of us that when you start to tap into conscientiousness, to the awareness of who you truly are, when you really start to activate your awareness of your spirit, your soul, it's like, oh yeah, this thing is powerful. And for those of you that can resonate with what I'm expressing, right? Because this is not rehearsed. This is not scripted. This is just conscientiousness. This is in flow. But when I go on the trip, right? Who I am and how I show up is I continue my process every day. What is my process? First thing this morning, guess what I did? Positive affirmations. Second thing that I did, well, positive affirmation was the first thing. Second thing is I started making coffee. Third thing was I journaled. And then I did breath work. It was incredible. But that's what it means here. 1% better, 365, 24/7, every day. 1% better every single day. There's no days off. There's no days off from doing life. This is what doing life is, as I see 222s. Most of y'all thinking doing life is, I don't know, what is it? Chilling out, sitting back, barbecuing, right? Maybe going outside a little bit. What else? What else are we doing for life? What are we doing? We sitting there depressed, sad, overwhelmed, lonely, anxious, frustrated, resentful, regretful, apathetic, fearful, angry. We sitting there in those states of being. Well, we already know, where does that state of being come from? That's the lower self, right? And so the higher self is where we need to identify. That's the higher self, and it's a choice. You can choose to align your life and your experience with your soul's purpose on this planet, or you can choose to continue a life of suffering, whether it's silently or very openly, based on your life experiences that have caused you pain. Most people, what you choose to eat it's not based on your hunger, your cravings, it's based on your wounding. Do you know that most people, again, most, I didn't say all, but most, if 40% of Americans, I'm speaking about Americans. Other countries are probably a little bit healthier, a lot healthier. 40% of Americans are obese. We're not just eating because we're hungry. We're eating because we got eating disorders. And those eating disorders, those cravings, right, for complex carbohydrates, sugars, right, fats, where does that come from? Greasy food, oily food, Where does that come from? Overeating, overindulging. Where does that come from? Why do we dysregulate the homeostasis of just our basic needs for what is a proper nutrition? Where does that come from? That comes from emotional wounding. Everything. It's all emotional. It's all attached to your emotions. Right? Gabor Mate. He's kind of like a lone wolf out there. But what he talks about, he says all addiction is rooted in unhealed trauma. From where? Childhood. And I've deconstructed this within my own self to understand that all addictions are rooted in unhealed emotional trauma. That's the whole game right there. And yet, what does it take? What does it take to heal the emotional state of being? There's still some mystery to it, but I know that every single day I'm figuring it out a lot more and more. Actually, a process. I believe in a process that I've gone through, and then I've condensed down. I've been 13 years trial and error, right? You know how many times it took Edison to get the light bulb right? Anybody? Right? I've heard it took him up to 2,000 times for him to get the light bulb right. That's a lot of failure. There was probably people laughing at him like, come on, Thomas. Come on, Tom. Come drink, man. Let's go to the bar, dude. Like, what are you doing, man? What are you doing playing with this thing? Like, you've already failed 100 times, 500 times, Tom. 500 times. You like, come on, man. It's not meant to be. 1,000 times, bro. 1,000 times you've kind of fucked up. 1,500 times. Wait, 1,500. Tom, you're going crazy, man. Delulu, bro. You're getting a little delulu, Tom. Let's give it up. Right? But yet, it took only one time getting it right. But it took what? Commitment, consistency, and a belief in himself to go through that much trial and error to figure it out. And once that happened, guess what? That changed everything. And I kind of feel like that too, because when I started this process 13 years ago, like, all I know is I was trying to figure out what the hell's wrong with me. I was just trying to figure out why I couldn't trust myself. Why this other version of myself would appear, right? Like a Jekyll and Hyde type thing. And it's like, what the hell, man? What the hell, dude? What the hell's wrong with me? Why can't I control this other side of myself? And I went on a mission, just like Thomas Edison with the light bulb. I went on a mission saying, I'm going to figure out how to trust myself. I said no to all the prescription pills. I said no to, right? Anything like that, I said no to. But I said yes to just about anything that had to do with healing, spiritualism, religion, right? Because I think there's too much mystery to what's really going on in this world. That when one doctrine or one, the people that say that their way is the only way, I don't subscribe to that universally anymore. But here's what I believe is that if someone believes that, then that's correct for them. Because I once said that. And here's what I've understood in my path. We'll get a little deep here. I spent a lot of time reflecting out in nature this weekend. So here's the thing that I realized is that in the season that I was pursuing like Christianity, Jesus, right? That was the right message for that version of me to start opening me up to more spirituality, to more understanding what was going on. But the thing is that I didn't stop there. I needed to keep going because again, just like Thomas Edison, the light bulb hadn't come on inside of me to be like, oh, I do understand my trauma. I understand I'm healing. No, that didn't happen. And so I had to keep going. It's like I checked in there. I went all in there. I learned some lessons. I learned a lot there, but I knew there was more. And that's what messes a lot of people up. Y'all go there and stay there, and that's good for you. For your soul, that's okay. If you're hearing this and that messes you up because you think that yours is the only thing, just keep believing that. If you have the answers to your life's problems and you fully feel like whatever it is that you're believing in is everything that you truly need to be the best version of yourself, then that's incredible. I'm grateful. I'm excited for you. Because I believe that too. When I was there, but I'm not there no more. And when I say there, I'm talking about lower vibrational, lower dimensions of reality. Which, you know, if you don't understand what I'm talking about right now, but I know some do, then I get it. But I truly do believe this, is that it worked for me for that timeline. And there are some people on here that is what you need to believe, and that's what you need right now in this life. Your soul is okay, is happy right there. And that's okay. If that's how you roll this out for the rest of your life, I can promise you no one's going to hell. No one goes to hell. Even if you're a really bad boy or a bad girl. You come back and you got to do it again. There's karmic lessons to learn. And yet that's the interesting thing about it. But yet, because I didn't stop there, I kept going. I kept going. I kept going. I kept going and going. And that's why I'm telling you, I can't go back. I can't go back down to there. You know how silly it was? I think it was like, it's been at least 2 years. I think 2 years ago, I had a buddy of mine. It was around Christmas. He's like, it's been more than that. It was probably 2021, right when I got out of a previous relationship that really messed me up, broke my heart. And a buddy, I just happened to be in the area. My buddy just invited me to church, and it was around Christmas. And I said, all right, man, yeah, I'll go check it out, bro. Are you there now? I'll go check it out. And it was like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Listening to a guy not very good at like being a stand-up comedian to try and entertain people. And then the other part of it was like a political rally because he was having a feud with a politician at the time. Because this was during the pandemic. And then it was just lightweight on, what you would call like scripture teachings. And I just said, man, like this ain't it. This ain't it, man. There's something, this ain't gonna bring about that emotional shit that I need to figure out inside of myself. And it's all love. If you're somebody that is so in love and And Jesus, you can just put all your burdens, all your vulnerabilities and insecurities and imperfections, and just put it on the cross and be like, look, I can stay this way, and just keep putting it on the cross, and just splattering Jesus with all my shit, all my bullshit, because you can just stay there and you don't got to do really the the dive work. Then uh, you know I'm not here to judge you for that, but don't judge me for saying that I went all in and I had to go farther, because just like Thomas Edison, right? I tried that and the light bulb didn't go. I didn't figure out the solution to my problem. That didn't give me the solution. It was a nice checkpoint. And I went all in with it, and I looked at it from every angle, right? I went all in, but it didn't get me what I needed. And I'm grateful that I didn't stop there, because I could have. And someone tried to get me to stop there, to take over and be a pastor, right? I was almost given the blessing of being a pastor. And I needed to go farther. And yet here we are. But I do realize the people that, and what's interesting? What's so interesting? This was another revelation I had as I see 111. Another revelation I had is, it was interesting. When I was like full on Christian, I was like very zealous. I was like what they would call like an evangelist. I was always inviting people, right? Because I thought I had found something that really was awesome. And I was like always inviting people, friends, like tough dudes, man, inviting them. Well, we'll see, bro. I don't know. Like I just got so much rejection. You know what's so funny? Is that once and maybe this is just a coincidence, but it's something that stood out to me recently, is that once I vacated Christianity, right? In the years after, all of these people that I used to like invite, they find, like, once my energy vacated, they found a home there. It was so interesting. That was a really interesting connection. And yet I've found a lot of these guys primarily have, they're still just living kind of normal lives, but yet that's something that they toot that horn a little bit every once in a while, that they have that belief and that faith now. And yet I know most of these people still are struggling. They're still struggling. And that's why I didn't stay there, because I was still struggling. But yet I had perfect attendance. I paid all my membership dues, right? I did all my tithes. I went above and beyond to serve, and I didn't get the results. And yet I find myself right now so far down the spiritual awakening path that I've realized that when I look out on this earth, that although a lot of my life I always felt I was behind, a lot of my life I always felt I was rejected, a lot of my life I always felt I wasn't good enough. Maybe that relates to some of you. That I now realize that and this is actually scripture, right? It says that the last will be first, right? And so I've always felt that I was kind of late. And yet what I now realize is, wait, no, I'm actually at the forefront of what's truly happening on this planet, which is that spiritual awakening. And it hasn't hit mass yet, but it is. I had some really incredible encounters, as I always do, right? Today I met this native guy. Was an artist. And I drove by and I saw him with his little booth, and it just spoke to me, like, to go and check in with him. And I wish I had it here. It's hanging already though. But I bought this badass dream catcher, but it's not just a round dream catcher. This guy uses deer antlers. And so it's like, I don't know, there's 2 deer antlers, and in the dream catcher there's three catchers in it that make like like I don't know, man, like a sphere or something. Like I almost looked at it as like this isn't just like your 3-dimensional, right? Just a flat dream catcher. This is like multi-dimensional dream catcher, right? Astro dreams, which is kind of what I'm doing here. And me and this guy started talking, and then yet I started telling him that I have this vision on my ranch. Happy Memorial Day, bro. That I have this vision on my ranch that I want to make the biggest dream catcher out of, like, you ever seen those trampolines, right? The big ring on a trampoline. Well, they're always up for sale for like, cause they get all ate up and shit. So I want to take that ring and make it. And he's like, who are you? He's like, I was just talking about making one of those yesterday with my friend. And I was like, dude, I'm the healer of many nations. Like, we're not here by accident, are we? And so I'm really grateful that I'm going to be able to bring forth this vision on my ranch to make like the world's biggest dream catcher. And this is the guy to do it. Yeah, the wave's coming. And so I even told him, I could tell that he had the light inside of him. And it's like, we're not behind the wave. This is the wave. We're like, it's just starting to swell. And yet, we're activating the chosen, right? The 144,000, that's not a lot, right? The chosen ones are being activated, and it's intimidating. Yeah, the Dreamcatcher is going to be incredible. It's going to be a fun project. It's going to be such a fun, and I found the guy to do it. I've reached out to a few people because I've had that idea, and it was just interesting that the guy was like, dude, I just had that idea. But then he even took, like, he had his piece, and then I had some feathers. I had an eagle feather, a raven feather, a dove feather, and a turkey feather on me. And so he made the little tassels for him, and we blessed it, and we'll see. I'm like all excited to go to bed tonight, man. This dream catcher, this thing is sacred, man. I love when stuff finds me like that. I love just being out there. What do you love to do? Are you doing what you love to do? Right. I love being out in the wild. I love camping. I love being out in nature. Right. I love putting out this message. I know sometimes I'm battling my own self. I think I probably have a small percentage of the Native American in me, but see, here's the thing, bro, is so we have 2 ancestral lines, right? Our first line we have is whatever skin suit we're wearing right now, right? That has a bloodline, an ancestral line, right? The skin suit you're wearing this time. But the other line that you have is your soul, is the line of your spirit. And your spirit, right? I've been a shaman and a healer in many lifetimes. Native American cultures, Asian cultures, you name it, man. Egyptian. I mean, I've had the dreams, I've had the synchronicities. I mean, so even talking about that, I just recently went to Sedona, right? I had this vision about Sedona. I wake up in this beautiful home in Sedona. And then that night, this event that was a month later came up. And I was like, whoa, that's a synchronicity. I guess I'm supposed to go to Sedona. So I signed up for that event and I go to Sedona. I felt the energy right away. It like just, man, just buzzing energy driving in there. And I've been there before, but my mind wasn't in the same place as I was this time. My spirit wasn't in the same place. But you want to hear something interesting? Is I had a premonition that as I started hearing the stories of Sedona, there's something so familiar about it to me, and it's the energy that tells me this. But Sedona used to be like a grand sanctuary for worship for the indigenous cultures that settled that part of Arizona. And that resonated with me. And yet here's something that's really interesting today. So I met this Native American dude, and when I was on this hike to these waterfalls, I met this guy from Poland. Guess what his name was? Greg. So I met this guy from Poland. His name's Greg. And I was like, how long you been here? He's like 20 years. And he was talking about Hawaii. And then what's interesting is that both the Polish guy and the Native American guy, unsolicited, for whatever reason, both of those men, unsolicited, meaning I didn't say anything, they both started talking about Sedona to me. And I'm like, wait, what? Because the Polish guy said it, and I'm like, what made you bring up Sedona, man? That's interesting. I'd be like, Sedona's definitely on my radar. I know it's been something about it, man. Something about it. I'm supposed to be there. Then later go down into town, and I'm talking to this Native American guy, and then he's telling me about Sedona. I'm like, dude, he's telling me about some shaman cave that's like off the radar, only locals know about it type of thing. And I'm like, that's really interesting, right? That two people in the same day, unsolicited, both mentioned that Sedona. So that's just something to consider, right? Is when we talk about past lives, a lot of us, especially, there's pride to have whatever your skin suit, whatever your bloodline is, your ancestry line, right? You have a service to that. But at the soul level, I mean, I've been many different people, very sacred people, right? Royal people in many lives. That's what I do know about myself. The soul that is inside of me is a very high power, right? Noble, sacred soul. And so the Apache, yeah, those are good bloodlines, man. But I've always felt that. Anytime I hear drums, anytime I hear the native drums, like I already have the dances down, bro. Like I should be over there doing the eagle dance. Like I have it. It's the weirdest. Like my body knows. My body, my energy, my spirit knows. Like when I hear the drums, like I can just go into the full dance. So it's things like that where when you really start to disconnect, man, from all the distractions, from all the distortions of the mind, and you really just connect. Right. What's up, Anthony? It's always great to see you, bro. When you just start to really align yourself with your soul versus align yourself with your ego, your pain, your suffering, your circumstances of this life. If you're stuck on the circumstances of this life, the time to set yourself free is now. And it's literally a choice. But with that choice comes a journey and a commitment. Because as much as I want to say, like, great, yeah, you know what? I could just, all right, guys, I'm done. It's been nice knowing you. Peace. I'm done. I'm kind of just want to go camp and not worry about all this stuff. And it's like that I already know I can't. It's like as much as that would be fun, right? it doesn't. I can't get away from this. Not that I'm trying to get away from it, but it's just one of those things that when you align yourself with your soul's purpose, like how do you walk away from that when I see 1, 2, 3? You just how do you just say, oh, I'm okay. It's been fun. But that's where a lot of us get messed up. A lot of us get messed up because things haven't gone as we expected. And I have a story for that. Yeah. It's still in you though, bro. You have to carry that. You have to carry that medicine. It's in you, whether mom's there, mom's not there, bro. She's with you. See, that's the other thing, there's grief there and sadness, but it's like she's still there, bro. She's still there. She's not gone. She just left she left the skin suit, bro. The skin suits are so disposable. We get so attached to the skin suit. Oh, the skin suit. Mommy, daddy, brother, sister, uncle, right? All this shit, man. It's like, no, dude, this stuff is so temporary. We transcend this, right? Even if you live to 100 years, it's like that. And yet we're infinite. If you don't think you're infinite, if you think it's this one life and you better figure out Jesus or you're going to burn in hell for eternity, even though this life only goes about 80 years, it's like whoever made up that shit, it's like, and I don't mean to be in it, like, I'm a Scorpio, but I'm also just, I struggle with this because I know the medicine I have is so direct that I know a lot of people get like, I've had a lot of people try and coach me to say, hey man, you could be a lot more gentler of how you say stuff, to be empathetic. And it's like, I don't know, man. Like, am I supposed to do that? Am I supposed to do that? Or can I just be me? Can I just be me and you be you? Like, for me, if I can like try and shine a light on somebody that's feeling grief. And you know what's sad is I've been re-listening to this book Frequency like 3 times this weekend. Everywhere I've been going. And it was talking about the consequences when we don't release loss. Like, we get put in like this place after this life because of holding on. Like, we hold ourselves back and we hold on to loss so heavy that it actually harms our soul, and it actually harms the soul of the person that we're holding on to. Like, we don't realize this energetic, this bond, this connection. It's powerful stuff. And yet, who needs to change? Do I need to figure out how to be more compassionate, empathetic, coddling, like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for your loss. Right? Does that really matter? If someone says that? I had a loss this past weekend. Right? I had a loss, but it doesn't feel like a loss. Right? I had to put my pup down, and she had a short life, but she had an impactful life. And yet I was with her. I had to make the decision, and I took her and I was there with her, and it was so beautiful. I'll tell you what was so beautiful. Like, I was sad. I was sad in that moment because that dog taught me about strength. She taught me about unconditional love. She was so strong because she had wounded legs, and yet she still found a way to get through it until she couldn't no more. But she was so strong. That dog was so freaking strong, and she has such a beautiful, loving heart. But I just remember being with her in those last few moments, and I just kind of went into a trance saying, just let go, pup. Let go. It's okay. Let go. No more pain. Fly. You're free. You're free, pup. Fly. Fly, pups. You're free. Oh, it's so beautiful, as I knew I was going to see something significant. And I was driving shortly after that took place, and this black and yellow butterfly like drove right on the side of my truck, and it was like right there next to me, and then it flew over and it circled back and it like went right in front of my truck, and I just knew. I was like, that was her spirit. That was her spirit. And I said, "Oh, pup, I love you so much." Yeah, thanks, bro. Yeah, the loss. I mean, but I've had loss too in relationships recently. That it's painful. It's fucking painful, man. But it is a lesson. Loss is for us to learn. We're to learn from these things. And especially if you can, the most important thing, I say everything's the most important thing. If you listen to me enough, everything's so important. It's not. You should have fun with this journey. But it's looking for patterns. It's looking for pain points. What triggers your pain? Because the things that trigger your pain the most, if it's loss of a person, loss of a job, loss of money, I mean, just if you can find the patterns, and that's why it's so important to reflect, and that's why journaling is like one of the top things that you should do every day, because it allows you to process and reflect, to get clarity on situations. Because when you're trying to just figure it all out in your head, man, it's a mess in there. That's like a very like hoarders type of a environment, is when everything is in your head. If you are all in your head and you never take time to either type out your thoughts, which is not my favorite, the power of the pen. And if you want one of these 4-color pens, right, depending on when you're watching this, the Results Kill Excuses 1% Better Everyday Journal, this bad boy right here, which is a total game changer, is on sale right now, right? You can click on that link down below or go to resultskillexcuses.com, go to the shop and type in Remember 20 in the cart, and it'll give you a $20 discount, 20% off right now. That's how important this thing is for me to get into your hands. But the thing about the 1% Better Everyday Journal is that's self-accountability. You got to hold yourself accountable. And a lot of people struggle with that. So what some people need is they need that next level of accountability, which is like getting me on your team one-on-one. But that's a major investment. This, not so much. But this will definitely transform you over the next 3 months for summer. Right? And yes, that is a sales pitch. This is a sales pitch because I believe in this. I have sent out so many of these, and it's going to continue to grow. And there's going to be 4 volumes, a full year's worth of just reflecting. And some of it's repetitive. Volume 2, there's little tweaks because I don't want it to be so redundant, but there is redundancy to what's going on here. It takes that. Because there's a big part of what is packed into here is to help you to reprogram. What do you need to reprogram? All the negative thoughts, all the limiting beliefs, all your subconscious programs, everything that's holding you back from actually truly breaking through to and smashing everything that's causing you to not believe in yourself. Right? And could you do it with just a notebook? Yeah. It's going to be a lot of trial and error. Right? I talked about that earlier. It's a lot. I've gone through all the trial and errors. It's kind of like saying, do you want to be Thomas Edison figured out after 2,000 times how to create the light bulb? Do you want to go and try and figure it out for yourself, or do you want to just go buy the fucking light bulb? That's what this is, right? Do you want to try and figure out how to journal, how to like reprogram yourself, or do you want to just buy the fucking light bulb, turn the light on? And it's funny how beautiful that analogy is, because what we're talking about, the healing work that needs to happen isn't in your conscientious light side of who you are. It's in the shadow work. It's in the dark side. It's in the shit that you're ashamed of, the shit that has caused you pain, the things that have hurt you, that you're trying to avoid. You don't want to give it attention. And why? Because it continues to cause you pain. If you give the things that hurt you from your childhood attention, guess what? You're going to go through some emotional feelings, some real deep emotional feelings, as if that stuff is actually happening real time. It's heavy. Right? I got this cut on my finger here. I talk about this analogy all the time. Y'all can see it, right? I got a big cut on my finger. And the thing about it is, I've been in and out of the water, and it's like I got this on Friday, and it really hasn't fully healed yet. But time is going to heal that no matter what. No matter what, time is going to heal that. I can try and aggravate it for the next 30 days. And guess what? It's going to scab up eventually, and it's going to seal up, and it's just going to heal. It may not look so pretty, but it's going to heal by itself. I don't have to put any time or attention into that. If you get sick, you usually, if you just rest and allow some time to pass, you will heal. But when it comes to the emotional stuff, this is why I'm saying this is so new. 13 years ago, people were not talking the way I'm talking to you right now. Right? People were just basically saying, here's how you heal. Say this thing, do this thing, and voila, you're healed. And it's like, really? That easy? Yeah, that easy, man. But then come back next week and come back, then keep coming back, keep coming back. And it's like you keep coming back, but it's like, yeah, you hear stuff, it makes you feel good, it makes you reflect, you feel probably some guilt, right? You're struggling because there's all these rules, things you should do, things you shouldn't do, and you're like, oh, I'm stressed out, like, I'm such a screw up, I can't get it right because all the rules. Hopefully you're following my sarcasm. But at the end of the day, the real healing work, right? Me being Thomas Edison trying to say, look, I know there's a light bulb that I want to figure out at the, through this journey. I don't know if it's going to take me 1 year to do it or 13 years to do it or 15 years to do it, but I'm willing to try just about anything and everything to figure out how do I invent the light bulb for healing emotional wounds once and for all, not like, oh, it's just something that you got to kind of deal with. And, it's a never ending thing. Healing's not a destination. It's a process, and it can take you your whole life. This is the shit I hear from people that are really awesome people. But it's like, no, that's not in the best interest of the universe. All the powers that be, they want humans specifically on the planet called Earth to heal once and for all, to stop with the bullshit, to stop living lives that are such a fucking waste of time. We're living lives like it's just like we got a free pass to just fuck off, to just total fuck offs. I'll tell you a story. It's in the videos. I recorded videos this week, but for whatever reason, you're traveling and shit just wasn't uploading properly. But I had a test yesterday, right? I went to I call it fancy, but it was like a natural, organic grocery store. And there was this older guy sitting out there with like a walker kind of thing. And guess what he was doing? He was asking for money, right? Hey, you got any spare change? And if you listen to the show, you know how I play that one out. And so I was like, I'm getting tested, because I was sitting on a wallet full of 50s. I was like, oh shit, fuck. I was like, yeah, man, I'll get you, bro. Let me go inside, and when I come out, I'll get you. And he's like, all right, man. And so I go in, I go do my shopping, and I check out. And instead of using a card, I said, I'm going to cash one of these 50s. And so as I'm doing my shopping, I already know what's happening, right? I'm like, this is a test, right? Are you a bullshitter, man? Are you bullshitting? This is my own inner talk. Are you a bullshitter, or do you actually walk this shit? And I'm like, I'm gonna walk it. I'm gonna give that. I know. I'm having that voice. Are you a bullshitter, or are you going to give the guy the 50? Are you a bullshitter, or are you going to give the guy a 50? And so I go and check out, and I pay with a 50 and I get back like a 10 or some 5, some 1s and some change. And so in that moment before I walk out, it's like I'm gonna give him a 50, man. I'm gonna give him the 50. I'm not a bullshitter. I'm like I'm gonna live like that. But here's how I handle that is I like to connect with these people because I know there's no accidents. And so I pulled up on the guy and I said, "What's going on, man? What you doing?" And I just started having a conversation with the guy, and he was telling me a little bit about himself. And I asked him a question. I asked him a lot of questions. We actually ended up talking for like maybe about 30 minutes, which is also another beautiful thing to be present with people. Because I can tell you in the time that I was talking with him, he was asking, people would walk up and, some of these people look pretty affluent, right? They looked affluent, but he would say, "Hey, you got any change?" And they're like, leave me alone, you filthy animal. It's kind of sad, and I know I've probably been like that in the past from time to time. From time to time, I've always been somebody. I'm not trying to. This is not bragging. If people hear generosity as bragging, that's because it's making you insecure about your own selfishness, right? Your lack of generosity. And I'm someone, I've given my time volunteering, natural from everything from homeless shelters, soup kitchens to going on natural disasters all over the country, right? Some of the hardest work I've ever done for zero pay, just food and cot city in usually like a gymnasium, right? And I've also invited homeless people into my home. I've also met homeless people and said, "Hey, if you could go anywhere in the country right now, where would you go?" And one guy said, "Well, I'd go to Denver." And another guy's like, "Well, I haven't been home to Tennessee in a long time." I said, "Well, what if I was to drive you right now to the bus stop and buy both of you a ticket to Denver and you a ticket to Memphis? Would you go?" Yeah, but I have my dog. And I was like, "Well, before we go, we'll go forge the paperwork that your dog's a service dog so you could get on the bus and go back home, man." And it's like, I've done shit like that. That's just me. That's me. I'm not saying that's got to be you, but yet there I was. I had just talked the talk a few days ago. If you watch this on any kind of regular, I was talking about if you had $100 bill, if you had a 10, a 1, and some change, would you give the least or would you give the most? You should put that to the test. And here I was. I had a pocket full of 50s, and I said, after talking with this guy, I gave it to him. Now, here's the thing: is the guy was an alcoholic. He's a drug addict too, like just weed. But he was even sipping on a little something out there. And we talked about that too. I talked about how I've been sober for 13 years, and I asked him a question. I said, he was almost 70. I said, what was your dream when you were younger? Right? Like, what was your dream, man? Like, what was your dream life like? And this poor guy was like, "Well, not this." I was like, "Fuck yeah." And I was like, "But what was it?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know, but I just know it wasn't this, man. It was to do more with my life." I said, "Yeah, man." And it just, when I gave him the 50, what he tried to tell me and was right away, he's like, as I see 144, he's like, "I'm not going to spend this on alcohol." And I was like, "No, no, 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 man. Don't say that. Do not say that, dude. Don't put yourself in that. If you say it, you doing it, right? If you go and do that and you say it, right, that's going to be an issue." I was like, "I'm releasing that money to you. You use it on whatever you want, bro. You want to go buy drugs? You want to go buy alcohol? I don't care." Right? It's released. I've released it. It's a test for me. It's a test for you. However you want to use it, it's up to you, man. And he was like, all right. And I asked the guy, I was like, dude, when was the last time you felt proud of yourself? And he was like, this morning. And I was like, really? I was like, oh, that's cool. I was like, what happened? He's like, well, I woke up and I rolled the joint and I got stoned. I was like, oh no, dude, that's a pretty low bar, bro, for being proud of yourself, dude. That's a fucking low bar, bro. I was like, what about when was the last time you felt proud of yourself for actually doing something that challenged you? And he said, well, probably 8 years ago when I was doing wildland firefighting. I'm like, dude, you were doing wildland firefighting 8 years ago? You're like almost 70, like 60 years old. He's like, yeah. It's like, yeah, man. I was like, shit, that's kind of wild. And yet, I would like to think that the time I spent with him, that maybe it planted a seed in him. Just like the time I spend with you, maybe it plants a seed in you. When that seed grows, I don't know. I kind of told him, man, I was like, do you think you would change anything right now? And he's like, I don't know. Right? He kind of seems set in his ways. He kind of seems so locked in, 111, that I don't know. Like even me, I didn't like, usually I can see when I'm talking to somebody and we start talking about the good stuff, the things I love to talk about, life, healing. I can usually see the potential in somebody, like what they could be if you just switch your mindset. It's a mindset shift, going from a fear to love, right? The fear is all the doubt, all the guilt, all the shame, all the things that you can't change because they're already in your past. So you have to be in the present to say, you know what, I'm going to use courage. And in this moment, as a human, you have the intelligence and the conscientiousness to be able to say, you know what, all those things that I'm defining myself as, I can reframe it. I can shift it. I cannot be like, if I feel like it's too late, if I feel like I'm never going to be good enough, if I feel all these things, like it's valid to feel that. But as a human, if you could just have a moment to be in the present, to have awareness and say, you know what, I do feel good enough. I do feel worthy. And saying that is like one part of it. Saying it, hearing it, and writing it down is really the process of reprogramming. That's where the journaling comes in, right? It's a big part of it. Every single day, not only do you write things you're grateful for, but on this page, in what looks like a big cloud, these are I am affirmations. I am healthy. I am strong. I am sober. I am free. I am happy, right? I'm wealthy, whatever it is. Like writing it down is powerful. You need to hear it. You need to say it to yourself mentally, and then you need to write it down. And it's like, does that change your life instantaneously? No. But yet, the more that you wash your mind with this stuff, and this, I've been doing this consistently for years. I've said this. I added journaling into my repertoire probably about 5 years ago. And it would have came sooner, but I was doing 3 college degrees, so writing case studies and all this other bullshit was most of my writing. Mornings were mostly homework and all this other stuff. Even though I was still on the healing journey trying to figure things out, I just had jumped into those classrooms to do education. And once that kind of lifted, I was like, all right, there's still a lot of work to do. I accomplished those things, great life accomplishments. Hopefully I can utilize them in one facet or another. But at the end of the day, I realized I still have work to do on my healing journey. And I realized that writing shit down is very fucking powerful. Listening to positive affirmations every single morning is very fucking powerful for setting you up for success. And then also having the awareness in yourself to hear the negative thinking, right? To check that negative thinking and then to counter. It's like you have to counter punch it, right? It's like, it's literally like a boxing match. It's like negative thought, you're an idiot, you're dumb, you're not good enough, no one cares about you, you're unlovable. Whatever the fuck's going in your head, you have to like go bink, I am good enough. Bink, I am lovable. Bink, right? People do give a shit about what I'm saying. Bink, right? You have to just, and you have to do it 3 times more than the 1, 2, 3. If you get 5 negatives, that means you got to do 15 positives. And it almost seems like laughable, like, really? That's really what you do? Yes. What do? Just get your ass kicked by yourself. You just keep letting your mind, your thoughts, right, which are negative, right? There's no mystery to that. Every single one of us, doesn't matter how successful you are, you go, if you actually listen to successful people, they're honest with you. People that are open and honest, that are very successful, they have all kinds of fears and doubts, but they're not paralyzed by them. And neither should you be. But most average people, you just, you're so complacent. We're so fucking complacent right now. It's like, dude, you got to get your body in action, right? If you're feeling stagnant, you need to start moving and getting your circulation going. Get outside, start walking, get into nature, breath work. This all starts to move the energy that's all stagnant, the stuckness, because you're so inside your head. And that place is a mess, not worthy of occupancy, right? No fire marshal would sign off on the occupancy of your mind because of how toxic and polluted it is with negativity. And you know this. The average person, this is what your existence is. Negativity. Everywhere you look, every thought you have. If you have 60,000 thoughts a day, right? Majority of those thoughts are repeats of yesterday. And if you were to sit there with some awareness and realize how negative you are towards yourself, how doubtful you are, how fearful you are, how heavy and deep the guilt is, it's like, are you just going to keep living a passive life, or are you going to fucking get up and fight? Start counterpunching this shit with some positivity. This is the light bulb. This process right here is literally, here's the light bulb. What is it going to light up? The shadow side. All the stuff that you're afraid to look at inside of you. There's not demons and there's not skeletons in the closet. There's a little kid, an inner child that is still a part of you. Just because you grew up, because you're older, because your number's not 6 years old anymore, you're just, your number's bigger. That doesn't mean that inner is still there and isn't sitting in the dark, afraid, needing somebody to come and rescue them. That is the mission. It probably sounds silly to some people. Really? Why can't Jesus do it? Send Jesus to go save the inner child. Fuck. It's so interesting that the Bible doesn't talk about inner children at all. And the inner child is the aspect of yourself that is wounded. That is the part of you that has the subconscious programs, that continues to self-sabotage, that continues to live in fear, that continues to live apathetically, carry around grief, it doesn't matter if you are easily emotionally stimulated, whether you see something and you get all excited, all jacked up. Yeah. That guy won or that person lost. You get excited for people losing or people winning. Yeah, I'm so glad they lost. Yeah, I'm so glad they won. Or you get down. Oh, I can't believe my team won. It's like, the weather, if you are so easily manipulated, it is literally a reflection of the depths of your emotional wounding, because you don't have emotional regulation and you don't have emotional literacy, which is also a critical part of the 1% Better Everyday Journal, right? Why is it a part of it? Because right here at the beginning, you fill out the emotional wheel. I bet you most of you, if you even take a brief look at this, you wouldn't even believe that there's that many emotions, because you've only lived in happy, mad, angry, sad. 3 negatives, 1 positive. But look at all of these different emotions that derive from that. And yet, when you start to expand your emotional literacy, which is part of the learning in here, the teaching courses that I do in the masterclass from self-sabotage to self-mastery, is when you can really start to expand. And this is what helps you to not have to worry about self-control. I don't have to worry about self-control anymore, you guys, because that shit don't work. And it doesn't work. Self-control doesn't work. It works. Self-control works probably 8 out of 10 times. It works most of the time. For those of you that are like, I got good self-control, it works most of the time. I'll give you that. Because for me, I was able to control myself most of the time. But holy shit, the times I didn't control myself, what did I just do? I'm fucked. The times I did not control myself, which it just takes one fuck up where you lose control. Which I do know this. This is something that I absolutely know about myself. 100%. I know myself so deeply, so authentically, and I have such a level of self-awareness that I know with all my heart, with all my mind, with all my soul, with all my strength, I will not ever have to worry about losing control again. Now, does that mean that I can't get passionate? Yeah. I get people gaslight me because I still can speak with passion. And I'm very direct. My medicine is hard to swallow. And yet in the past, right, I would kind of walk on eggshells because I didn't want to upset people by speaking my truth. And what I've learned is that, I'm going to just keep standing in my truth, shining my light, and people can either run away, and plenty do, right? Go run back to your, where you feel safe, where you feel like you don't have to, no one has to shine the light on you, right? No one's shining the light in the dark spots, right? With the light bulb. You can just stay nice and safe and keep your shadow side, hidden. When it's never hidden, you just don't want to acknowledge the fact that it's there. And definitely the people closest to you, spouses, children, close friends, close relatives, if they were to go on camera and be interviewed about you and about like the unlikable version of you, when everyone sees it. We can't hide it. We think we're hiding it because we just don't acknowledge it. And what's sad is when you do, when your shadow comes out in the uncontrollable way, it's like we almost become like oblivious, like because you're not in control. Right? That's what the whole thing is, to control yourself. What do you mean? Control yourself? How do you not control yourself? The only way that you wouldn't be controlling yourself is if you're not in control. And the reason why you're not in control is because you have something called subconscious programs that are based on its trauma responses that are meant to protect you. But unfortunately, many, many, many of those trauma responses are not in alignment with the circumstances that you're currently facing. they are a response to extreme circumstances of the past. And in the past, you weren't able to even utilize those. So now you overcompensate moving into the future. This is how I showed up, right? So most of the confrontational things that I experienced primarily in intimate relationships, where I would get confrontational. And intimate doesn't mean just wife, girlfriends. It means like mothers, sisters, like close kinship, right? Inner circle types. When I would get confrontational, my adult would be the protector of the inner child, because the inner child would be scared, right? And the adult would run a program of protection that was like way over the top, unnecessary. And the problem is because most of my life I had been fucking my feelings and suppressing that shit, that the over the top emotional reaction would obviously leave me in a worse situation, pushing people away that I genuinely love, I genuinely care about, right? Leaving me worse off. And then that created what? Inner conflict with myself, my inner child and the adult. And it's like a lot of us are doing this and we don't even realize that we have these personas that are conflicted inside themselves, because inner child is scared and the adult is actually acting on good intentions for preservation. But yet the level of what it's doing, like I said, it's magnified, because what's being activated is an old wound, a trauma inside of you. It's being activated. And so now that you've grown and you want to protect yourself, that's what jumps in. That's what gets most people in trouble, right? That's why like domestic issues and stuff are so prevalent. And it's not just guys, there's plenty of women. That's one of the problems in society, is that growing up, boys were not, it wasn't tolerated that boys show emotions. So they were suppressed. And women, there was more toleration for that. So it's overlooked when a woman has emotional wounds. Like, we're supposed to think that a women are more emotionally connected, when that's not true. That's another thing that comes out of this healing journey, spiritual awakening, is we need to realize that's a fallacy, right? That's a wounded fallacy that exists in the conscientious of this planet, that's not applicable anymore. Because the true thing that everyone has is an equal measure of divine masculine and divine feminine energy. We all have masculine and feminine energy. We're all capable of being emotionally aware and also being emotionally grounded. Emotionally grounded is probably what most people want to see in men, like to be stoic and, just allow for the emotions to slap you in the face. And you're just supposed to be like, yeah, whatever, honey. Yes, it's okay. It's like, yeah, that's great. But again, as society, we just tolerate that, girls cry and girls are more emotional and boys are supposed to suppress it. But then why are 2,000 men every day killing themselves? Right? It's 4 times more men that are taking their lives right now. Why is that? Someone please, in the back of the room, does anybody got your hand up to answer why is that? It's because men have been so disconnected from their emotions, fucking their feelings, when we need to feel our feelings. The time for men to heal their emotional wounds, as women are equally emotionally wounded as men, but yet women there's not a pressure to heal it because women can just be emotional. They're just considered emotional beings. And men are just supposed to be like this suck it the fuck up type being. And it's like, no, both sides need to heal the emotional wounds. Both sides. Not one or the other. Both sides need to take responsibility for their wounds. And that's why this message is not even just for men. It's like, it's for everyone. Because most people are carrying around trauma, emotional wounding from their childhood, whether it's sexual, physical, psychological abuse, right? These things have caused wounding that does not heal with time, period. The only way to heal your trauma is you have to go into that time machine, do the life review, understand the patterns and the pain points that show up based on the most significant experiences that you've had. And ultimately, where you get to is a place of accounting for all those experiences, accounting for everyone that's associated with those wounds. And guess what you need to do next? Release. This is true healing. This is grace. This is forgiveness. Literally releasing people. Releasing it, having an understanding at the soul level that what happened to you wasn't to cause you harm, to destroy you. It was for you to get to the place of awakening at the soul level, that whatever that pattern is, we all have a little different pattern, is your lesson. It is your purpose. It's the thing you need to heal inside of your soul. Learning how to transcend loss, learning how to transcend abuse, learning how to transcend being sexually abused. I mean, whatever it is, physically abused, emotionally abandoned. There are so many different things that happen to us, and you can see the patterns if you have the courage to go back and face that shit. And it takes a flashlight. That's how you heal. In a nutshell, that is pretty much the process. And is it painful? Fuck yeah, it is. I wish I could tell you that healing was so much easier than the actual event. It's not. And that's why so many people are fucking afraid to do it. That's why so many people do not have the courage to do it. They don't want to do it. So they'll just continue allowing all the distractions, all the entertainment, all the little sparkly things, the glittery things to just keep their eye somewhere else. They don't want to go within. But that shit, even all of those things, right, are not satisfying the soul anymore. They're not satisfying even the ego anymore. We're still, there's a frustration in the hearts, in the minds of people. Because the things that used to give us a little bit of relief, it's not working anymore. We're so burnt out from that stuff. And it's all by design. This is the time that people are going to they're going to be, I hate to use the word forced, but it's happening. The energy on this planet is shifting, and it's coming from beyond this planet. And yet everyone is being moved into a higher state of awareness. And when you get, because other people are actually like myself, I'm open to this. I continue, like I said, there's no going back. You can't go back. The energy is shifting on this planet. You need to realize, like, we are energy. Just rub your hands together. Holy fuck, there's like this big solid ball right there. You could feel it. You could feel it. It's right there. And we're impacted by energies, cosmic energies. There's something very cosmic that's happening right now on this planet. Energetically speaking, we are rising. And then as people are healing, right, because of these, every person that makes this decision to start transcending and releasing all of the lower vibration, which, low vibration is like this. It's slow, right? It's wounding and it's just slow. High vibration is like one big woof, ups and downs. And yet every single person, right? A lot of people have a hard time saying, to be my best self, to make a difference on this planet, I don't really need to do all that, man. Right? With like this false humility. And it's like, great, you don't have to do that. Just start with you then. The whole point is for you to heal you. And guess what happens though? As a result, if you heal you, guess what you do? You help to heal the planet. You do make an impact in this world. It's symbiotic. It doesn't, you can't, there's not one without the other. You healing you are that important. That is how important you are at the soul level. At a human level, yeah, you feel so insignificant. You feel like nothing's ever gone your way. You felt like you had dreams and goals and aspirations, and then life just went pack and smacked you in the face and knocked your ass down and started dragging you down the street. And now you're like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the road, and you're like, it's way too late, man. What's the point? What's the point of all this? And it's like, even though I'm talking to a 70-year-old guy sipping on his liquor, he heard a message. Whether he chooses to respond or not, it's on him. Whether you choose to respond or not, it's on you. I'm just planting seeds. I'm just flinging seeds all over the place. Whether you choose to start fertilizing them, watering them, so that you give them a chance to grow, those beautiful seeds of life, that is a part where you get to choose. But as I see 11:11 right here, Mountain Standard Time, that choice, my idea, when I see all the synchronicities, you guys, when I see all the synchronicities, when I see, when I have two random dudes in one day talking about Sedona out of nowhere, and just everything else that I experience, being more and more and more in a state of awakeness, conscientiousness, not being not being like unconscious, and like just going like through zombie mode, the less I feel like there's like free will, that there's actually free will. And a lot of people will struggle with that, because yeah, you can run, but it's like, can you really hide? And then the other piece is, what I start to believe is that, it's like, if you chose this life and you chose the experiences, which is something that I'm pretty apt to believe, that we chose the life, we chose the character, we chose all the hardships, we chose, it's like it's like if your life was a movie, before you come into this life, the movie is already written and you signed off on it. You said, yes, that's the movie I want to do. Right? And so the free will was there, like, hey, do you want to go back into Earth to participate in what's going on there at the soul level? Like, because that's what's most important. The human level, what we're doing, economics and, politics, that shit doesn't matter. What's happening here at the soul level, the energetic soul frequency level, that is what matters. And yet here you were before this life, and you wrote, right? You signed off on a script for your life story, beginning to end, because your soul already knows. Before you come into here, your soul knows what lessons, what lessons it needs to learn to transcend, and what experiences are going to be the things that allow you to get there. First, going through the hardships, the traumas, right? And then continuing to have like the repetitive, like, knock, 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 right? The little, like, first you hear a whisper, you should probably change this about yourself. And you're like, did I hear something? And then you get a message, knock, knock, knock at the door. And you're like, yeah, I hear that, but I have free will, so I don't want to do that right now. Maybe in a better season. And when you blow the message off, then you get a lesson. Right? And then so the lesson shows up, right? Which is something hitting you in the head. And you're like, ow, the hell, man? Why'd that have to happen? And you're like, well, and this is when I talk about seeing when people will go through a hardship, and as soon as it starts to like dissipate and things start to kind of get better, it's like, oh, you default right back. You're like, oh, cool, it's over. I don't need to stay. I don't need to maintain these changed habits and patterns. I want to go back to how I used to have it because I just like that better. And so we get that choice too. But then, see, here's the thing: is the lesson then becomes right more. It becomes an upheaval. And eventually it becomes like a rock bottom moment. And if you can't even get through the rock bottom moment, then usually, I mean, that's usually probably it. So that, guess what? But here's the thing, is that when it is all said and done, we're here in the US, we're celebrating Memorial Day. It's remembrance of those that are fallen, those that are no longer here, that made the ultimate sacrifice in service of what? Freedom, liberty, pursuit of happiness, beautiful things. And yet so many people take all of that for granted, take life for granted, live with no purpose, act as if, punching a clock, getting a paycheck, living for the weekend, overeating, overindulging, sitting back, just watching other people do their life and never really believing in yourself enough to go and do yours is a pretty decent way. I pay my taxes, I vote. It's like, sweet, man. Good job. Good job, man. You did it. Awesome. You voted. You paid your taxes. Good job. Thumbs up. Is that really all you think it's about? Oh, you went to church. Is that really all it's about? That's it. That's it. It's that easy. You just say the magic words, right? And that's it. Or is there something even greater? Something deeper that we need to achieve? True healing. True healing. Not the surfacey shit. Not just saying things, but actually seeing transformation in our lives. Like total transformation. Total transformation. I know I got the receipts. And I know that if you start investing in yourself, this could be a great place to start. 1% Better Everyday Journal. It's on sale until tomorrow night at midnight. Depending on when you're watching this, that's May 26th. Type in Remember 20 in the shopping cart. Get $20 off. 1% Better Everyday Journal would be a great place to start. Start keeping some receipts, to start holding yourself accountable, to start believing in yourself, to start knowing that there are some things you're doing good. There are some things you can do better, and there are some things that matter to you that you want to start tracking every day. And even if you fail, at least you're tracking. At least you're actually starting to get things out of your head. You're starting to track. You're starting to really start every day with some gratitude, some affirmation, some reflection, and then getting even into the meat of this experience. Self-sabotage to self-mastery. So I see 144. Beautiful number. If you're here right now, I can almost guarantee you are chosen for something more than whatever it is you're doing now. Something much, much more. And again, For a lot of people, they hear that, false humility. I don't need to be that. I don't need to be famous. I don't need to be worldwide. Okay, great. How about just being more than who you are right now? How about who do you wish you could be? What do you wish you could be doing right now? If you had no limitations, what are 3 things you wish were different about your life that you could change? But it's going to take some effort. It's going to take some real focus. It's going to take some consistency. It's going to take you having to understand what it is to persevere and to rise above and to do things even if you don't feel like doing those things. But they lead you down the path of your greatest desires. But again, here's the issue. A lot of people believe this life is about accumulation, and when you haven't accumulated enough, you feel insignificant. The purpose of this life, the focus of this life is not about what you accumulate. It's about identification, not accumulation. It's about identification. And it's identifying yourself as a soul having a human experience, not a human with a spirit. Right? You're not a human with a spirit. You're a soul. And that soul is eternal. But that soul is also interconnected to every single soul on this planet, every single soul in the entire universe, everything, every living thing. Even things you may not even think are living, they have energy in them. There's frequency in it. But that's hard to imagine because you can't even get out of your own head to start activating your body. And yet we took off this week from the Breath of Life Healing Circle, but we are meeting again next week. And if that's something that you have thought about, I highly encourage you to go take a look, signing up at resultskillexcuses.com. Just click on the Breath of Life. The cool thing about next month is we're not only meeting 3 times, but we're going to meet 4 times because there are 5 weekends in June. So there's a bonus one. And all you got to do is go to resultskillexcuses.com, Breath of Life Healing Circle. There's a bunch of information on there for you to watch. Check out. We meet Sunday mornings at about 8:45 a.m. for some connection, some reflection, visualization, and yes, lots of breathing, which means lots of healing. Here's the schedule here for June. Again, I truly believe this summer should be the summer of transformation. And right here, I'm not just here to entertain you. I'm here to support you and help facilitate healing in you if you're ready. And this would be the greatest opportunity, is to start June 1st, the first day of June, and lock in for the next 3 months. Can you imagine locking in? Guess what else goes for 91 days? Basically 3 months. The 1% Better Everyday Journal. Can you imagine if you didn't just fuck off the way you have been for the past who knows how many years in terms of what your summer should look like, but you were to add some actual real healing work into your summer, right? You reserve your spot here. Just click on that link, right? It's $80 per month. It's a hell of a deal for the results and the connections that you'll make. The reason why it's important that it has a container, right? And it's not just a free thing, because it is a container. It is a safe space. It is a place where you can let down your guard, be open to a little bit of vulnerability, to share, to hear other people, and to hold that in a sacred place, to know that it's safe, that you're not alone, that we have a lot of shared experiences amongst us. Even though we have different experiences, there's some shared wounding that goes on, even if the experiences are varied. And in that, we can find connection. We can also find identification. Remember that? Identification. To really identify who we truly are, what truly matters in this life. And that can happen this summer. Make it the summer of transformation. Join me and many other beautiful souls in taking these leaps of faith, pulling the trigger. 1% Better Everyday Journal. Click on the link down below. Get in the Breath of Life Healing Circle this coming Sunday, June 1st. It's going to be a beautiful one, and I hope to see you there. Beyond that, I hope that you'll take some time to reflect, right, about what truly matters. I shared a story recently about a Memorial Day many years ago after I had a very close friend and coworker that had taken his life. And at the time, I was used to doing like all the ceremonial stuff for veterans on Memorial Day, and I was pretty down on myself. And I remember receiving a download from Beyond the Grave. And that message was basically like, I kind of was asking myself, like, does going to the ceremonies, does that really matter? Does that really honor your sacrifice? That's what the question was. Is that how I honor you? Right. The ceremonial stuff. Right. And you can even ask yourself that. How do you honor your soul? How do you honor the life that you've been given? Is it by sitting around and cheering for other people, using countless hours to have a team that you're rooting for because you're competitive, but you just don't have the athletic body and the gifts to go do it yourself? So you might as well spend countless hours of your life invested in cheering someone else while they're doing it because you loved doing it when you were a kid. Whatever bullshit that is, I basically asked if going to the cemetery is what truly honors the sacrifice. And the answer I got was a resounding no. If you want to honor the sacrifice that we've made, the answer I got was to go live your life to the fullest. Quit sitting around, wasting your fucking time, right? Getting all down on yourself, being all stuck in your feelings. Go out there and fucking live life. And that don't mean live it in a way that's like YOLO, party filled. Like I'd already been through that. No, it was like live it in a way that you're actually a model citizen. That came to me recently. I always talk about being that team captain, right? Right. You love sports so much. Do you realize that if you're listening to this, if you're a big sports fanatic, you're the team captain. And you're either a shitty team captain or you're an incredible team captain. Most people out there are pretty shitty. Right? Pretty shitty team captains because there's a lot of people around you that are counting on you to take the lead, to really be the role model, to show what you can be, the greatest version of who you can be, not the least, not the minimum, right? Yeah, sobriety should be number one. But I know a lot of people that are dry drunks, they're miserable fucks because, right, they're trying to control it. They're saying, to me, sobriety, clearing the chemicals from your body, from your mind, is like step one. If that is like something you're not at the very least interested in, like anything I'm saying is null and void. Don't take anything I'm saying at face value. Just carry on with your life. When you get to a place where you do consider it, again, there I was talking to a guy yesterday, almost 70 years old. And when I asked him, man, what was your dream for this life? I felt like I was talking to a dead man. What was your dream for this life, bro? And he like looked at what he was doing, sitting outside a freaking grocery store asking for change. He's like, well, definitely something more than this. I said, I know, man. And in my heart of hearts, I'm like, dude, it's not too late. But when I saw him and would listen to him and spend time with him, I'm like, I don't think this guy's gonna. I don't think this guy's gonna break out of this, which was kind of sad. It was sad. I was like, I don't think this guy's gonna break out of this. I didn't feel very hopeful for him, and it's sad because I connected with a guy that was 72 about 4 years ago, and I turned him on to this book, This Naked Mind. He was big into alcohol, him and his wife, and 2 years later, we met. I crossed paths with him. He says, dude, come here, man. He like want to give me a big hug. He's like, I don't think you realize how much you helped me. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, that book, man, that book, This Naked Mind. He's like, bro, I've been sober for going on 2 years now. He's like, my life has totally changed. And I said, that's incredible. I was like, that's incredible. And this was the guy in his 70s. So if you think it's too late for you, that's a limiting belief. If you're hearing this message, it doesn't matter what you've been through. I know that there's a lot of letdowns in life. You didn't achieve all the things when you thought. I'm no different in that regard. There's lots of things I thought I would have already accomplished. As I see 555, that's a number of change. It's time to make some changes. And guess what? Change starts with you. It starts with you. You get to make a choice. You can choose to change. But it was so sad to see this other guy. Like I usually see the optimism in people. I can see the best in people, but this guy, I'm like, man, I think you're going to ride this one out the way it is, bro. It's kind of a sad thing. Like I didn't see an opportunity for him to be like, I want to change, but anything's possible. I went to neutrality. I don't judge. I went to neutrality. And that's something that I encourage you to do, is to allow for every option to exist. I think as Ben just said here, the worst thing could happen, allow that to exist. But guess what? Equal and opposites. The best thing could happen, allow that to exist too. Don't allow there to be resistance for the best thing or the worst thing. Just be neutral and just say, I open myself. You can tell yourself this, an affirmation. I open myself to allow any and all options for my life to exist, good or bad. And if you start to put in the work, guess what? The good things will start to happen. Sometimes the good things can feel really tough, though, really bad. They can feel hard. But it's all about your mindset. You have a hard moment. Does that have to be a bad day? No, that can be one of the most important lessons along the journey. It's all mindset. And a lot of people, that's why it requires, this journey requires you to be of a sober mind. That means to clear yourself of chemical dependencies. And is that going to be instant? No. But again, if you have a willingness to do it, and then you start doing the emotional healing work, what happens is as you start to heal your emotions, which depending on when you're watching this, I talked about what that process looks like earlier. As you heal your emotions, you become more comfortable feeling uncomfortable inside of yourself and not saying, oh, I don't like the way I feel. I need to go get drunk. I need to go get high. And realizing that this is just habitual patterns of escape, of numbing pains that need to exist. You need to feel it. Like if you're feeling overwhelmed right now, feel fucking overwhelmed. But then also shift and say, what would it take for me to feel incredible? Let me feel that too. That's doing life. To say, you know what, like instead of resisting, like, I don't want to feel uncomfortable, so let me do this. And it's like that escape route. But then you become dependent on that. And the dependency means your tolerance, right, goes up because you need more and more and more and more. And then you become more and more frustrated and agitated because that medicine, whatever you want to call it, that substance is not giving you your relief. And that's why it's time to start going within, doing life on life's terms. That's the biggest flex. That's the biggest flex. Life on life's terms. No escape routes. No days off. 1% better every day. You heard it here first. It's your choice. You can choose to remain on the sidelines, or you can jump in the arena and start doing the work. And I would love to do it with you. I love you guys. I thank you. Appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight. I hope you have a beautiful day. Just remember, if you're trying to honor somebody that gave the ultimate sacrifice, why don't you look in the mirror and look at your life and really say, is your life a model citizen? Are you a model citizen? Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically? Are you truly the embodiment of the most supreme, highest version of yourself that then pays tribute to those that are no longer here? Because you're living so full. You're living so incredibly full. Or are you carrying around a lot of grief, anger, sadness, guilt, shame, apathy? And if you are, it's time to release that. And if you need some help, reach out. Greg@resultskillexcuses.com. I love you guys. You know the drill. Results kill excuses, because if it was easy, it wouldn't be worth it. Greg's out. Love you too.